Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Julia and today I'm going to talk about fermenting. So a lot of people don't know about fermenting or are confused by it or just need help. So I wanted to make this video today so I can kind of explain to you what it is and what the benefits of fermenting your food is. So this is the book that I bought and I have used for the last 3 years when it comes to fermenting, and I've had great success with this book. I have had some failures with fermenting as well, and I'll explain that to you as the video goes along, but I do strongly think that this book is a great resource for your fermenting needs. It has a lot of recipes in it. You can ferment without a recipe, but you would need to know the math. You would need a kitchen scale so that you could weigh things, measure your water, your whatever you're fermenting, your salt. Like, it's a whole science. But that's why I like recipes, because the recipes just take the guesswork out of all of it and, in my opinion, make it a whole lot safer. So what is fermenting? Fermenting is a very old-fashioned technique, probably been used since food was around, and there is good and bad bacteria that lives everywhere. It lives in the air, on surfaces, and even in our food. And it lives in our food from the soil that we grow our food in. And so if we don't preserve our food will go back to the land. And so we need to either eat our food fresh or find a way to preserve it so that it will last longer. So I choose, not for everything, but for some things, to ferment. And fermenting it takes that good bacteria, kills the bad bacteria, and gives you good gut health, because you make lactic acid in your food, vitamins, enzymes, probiotics, all kinds of things when you ferment that are good for your body and good for your gut. So I really enjoy this process. So the lactic acid is what's made in the process, and then it preserves the food, like I said. So you would see this in similar processes with like yogurt, kefir. I think there's milk kefir, water kefir. I have had a milk kefir before. I have never had water kefir. I would actually like to have my own kefir grains. Whole nother topic, whole nother video. But those are different fermented foods processes. There's let's see, kombucha, which I've showed you on this channel before. I have videos on kombucha, and even in sourdough, that is a fermented food as well. So just a lot of gut healthy benefits if this is the way that you decide to process your food. So what foods are safe to ferment? Well, you can ferment pretty much everything. I'm sure if you go and do research for yourself, you can find some things that are not safe to ferment that Google says. So you can Google those things, see what you have on hand, make the best decision for you and for your family of what you're comfortable with. How I make a decision on preserving food, well, it's just depends on how we're going to eat it, how we enjoy eating it. There are probably some things that you preserve that you enjoy eating in different ways. Like, a lot of people like frozen corn, but they don't like canned corn. Now, I'm okay with cream corn canned, but I don't really enjoy canned corn. If I'm going to use corn, I prefer it frozen. And what I'm going to ferment today is peppers. I really don't like frozen peppers. I think that they're mushy and they don't cook up, and they're not as good. So I either like to eat my peppers fresh or freeze dry them. I dehydrate them and turn them into a powder to use in spices in my food. I can hide them in my food that way also. And then I also enjoy fermenting peppers, which, like I said, that's what we're going to do today. So there's just lots of different ways you can ferment your food. And, here's canning. So in canning, you are, using a vacuum. You're keeping the oxygen out of your food. Freeze, you have freeze drying. I've talked about freeze drying on my channel before. I hope to go into more detail about freeze drying and that process. It's very popular right now. Again, I dehydrate things. You just have to find the method for the food that you like and decide that for yourself. So I use all the methods, and I enjoy learning and finding new methods, new ways of doing things, because I have a very large garden, a lot of food coming in. I don't want it to go to waste, so I have to find ways to preserve the food that I'm bringing in. Why grow it if you're not going to use it? And find ways to preserve it that my family will enjoy. So I have, like I said, done ferments in the past. Talking about fermenting in this way. Obviously I've done the kombucha and things like that and continue to, but ferments like this and the brine, and have had a lot of failures because I did not have the proper supplies that I needed to do ferments. Now I have had successes. Like this is actually, these are green beans from last year and they're still good. They're in my refrigerator. I found them in the back. I ate some yesterday. They're delicious, and they are preserved and they taste good, and I put them back in the front so that I could eat on these and maybe preserve some more. I won't be able to preserve any this year because my green beans are gone out of my garden, but next year I'll probably preserve more of these. These are good. These are actually in this book that I showed you, Traditionally Fermented Foods, and these are the pizza green beans, and they're delicious if you like those types of flavors. Another recipe that I want to ferment, I have in my garden, is homestead chi. I have the green cabbage that you need for this in my garden growing now because it's fall, so it's not going to bolt. It's out there growing, and I'm excited to make some kimchi. I love kimchi. So if you didn't know, kimchi is a fermented food. If you like kimchi, you like fermented foods. So I did buy, I want to tell you about this sauerkraut. This is very popular fermented food that people eat a lot. They don't realize it's fermented, but it is. And I've had this sauerkraut for a while. I'm the only one who really likes it, but it's delicious and it's still good, and it's been in my refrigerator for a while. So I'm going to share kind of the things that you need. You can ferment without all of these supplies, but like I said, I've had a lot of failures because I didn't have the proper equipment to ferment. And the things that I bought this time that I didn't have before are, if I could get it out of the box, the weights that you put on top of your food to keep it down in the brine so that the bad bacteria cannot get into your food. And then I've also never had the tops that you put on your jars that let the oxygen out but not in. So these two things I just bought, and I'm excited to use and ferment the way you're supposed to, quote unquote. I have found like little tiny bowls that I've used to kind of be a weight. I've actually used like a cabbage leaf on top to kind of cover the top of foods. I've had some issues with food molding and going bad, and you don't want to lose all of that food, especially if you're fermenting something as much as I am today. I mean, a half of a gallon of food is a lot of food to waste. So I've decided to kind of invest in these things. I bought these things from Amazon. I can link them all below. I'm not an affiliate, so if you buy them, these are what I recommend though. And I know you've probably seen the fermenting lids, or these rubberized things, that have a little spout on the top. These are a little bit different. They look like little kitty cat ears. And then I've seen ones that look like syringes or something on top. That looked really crazy and weird to me, so it didn't appeal to me, but this is very simple. So like I said, you don't have to have these things, but you need something to weigh your food down. And then if you don't have this, you're gonna have to take your lids, your lid and your ring, and you're gonna have to open it and burp this and let the oxygen out daily or a couple of times a day. So today I'm gonna ferment, my book says, this little book that came with my weight says carrots. No, we are not doing carrots today. I'm going to do whole fermented peppers. And after you ferment these peppers whole, you can turn them into like a sauce, like a hot sauce, but I'm not going to do that. I am using Arroz Con Pollo peppers, which are prolific in my garden this year. I've tried to grow these for the last 2 years and they never did grow. This year, I'm swimming in these things. So I have frozen some. I plan to put some in my freeze dryer and have some that way, and put some in my dehydrator and make a pepper. These are not spicy, even though they look like they would like burn you up. They are sweet, and they have they taste like a sweet bell pepper. They're very good. They have a very nice taste to them. So I thought that they would be delicious fermented, because I love to eat these right out of the garden. I'll go in the garden and just pick these and just eat them. And they're very good. I enjoy them that way. So I was like, well, what a perfect thing to ferment. I did go through all the peppers and look through them, and you don't want any. This one, I don't know if you could see, it has a little hole in it. Since I'm not cutting these up, I'm gonna ferment them whole. I'm even leaving the stems on them. I do not want to ferment this pepper. I don't know what's inside of it. There may be nothing inside of it, but this one I'm going to give to the chickens. They've been enjoying the extras from the garden too. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this stuff in a jar. It's actually very simple. What you need is time. It's going to take 3 weeks for this to sit on my counter and actually be fermented, and then you could leave it on the counter for, let me double check with my book. You could leave it on the counter for several months. It says at room temperature or in cold storage, which would be the fridge, for 6 to 12 months. So this stuff lasts for a year in the fridge. So I'm just going to layer in my clean peppers. And also with fermenting, you don't need everything to be sterile, but you do need things to be clean, because, you know, we are catching some of the good bacteria here. So this recipe calls for enough peppers to fill a 1/2 gallon jar, and it also calls for 3 jalapenos. So we're actually going to just layer all this in here, and layer our jalapenos in here. I wish I had a batch of this made up ahead of time. There's actually something I forgot. I forgot the garlic. Let me grab that really quick. Okay, we've got our garlic. The recipe actually says to put the garlic in the bottom, and totally forgot, so it'll be fine. We're just gonna put it in here, and it says to add 2 garlic cloves. These are small, I'm adding 3. So I'm just gonna shake it a little bit and try to get them down there. I'm excited for next year, because I am about to put the garlic, my seed garlic that I bought, into the ground, and for the very first time, I'm gonna grow garlic in my garden. I'll have my own garlic next year. I'm very excited for that. But I just bought some already peeled store-bought, which I normally don't buy that either, but I splurged a little. So got the garlic in the bottom. I'm just layering the peppers with the jalapenos. And you don't want to take, I know there's some recipes like your sauerkraut, your cabbage, you would take and mash this down really hard. I don't want to do that with the peppers, because it'll break them all up. We want to keep these whole, so you do want to, you know, get them in there, but you don't want to mash them. So I'm gonna say that's good, because we still have to get our weight in there. And then my recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of sea salt. So we're going to put that in here. Just like that. And then, let me move my book so I don't pour water all over my book, because I'm messy like that. And we're just going to put our water in here, and we're going to fill it all the way up to kind of cover what we're fermenting. And then we're going to add, I really don't know what these are called, so I'll put it on the screen. Like I said, I will link it down below. This is a wide mouth jar, and these are wide mouth. So And then, oh, actually you need to put your weight in. Make sure that that's in there. Push it down a little bit, and then you're gonna put the silicone piece on. And I did not get a ring, so let me grab that. Then you're gonna wanna just add your wide mouth ring on there, and you are done. That is it. So it's very easy to do this. If you're, like I said, if you're following a recipe. Now I do see that the salt is in the bottom, so I may take this and shake this up a little bit very carefully. But this is all you need to do. If you have the correct supplies and you're not using an actual mason lid, this is it. If you use a lid, you will have to check it and burp it, but this is done. And so in about 3 weeks, I can start enjoying these peppers, and they're gonna be crispy and taste just as good as the day that I picked them from the garden. So they could be cut up and used in recipes, enjoyed, like I said, straight out of the jar. You could put them in tacos, or, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, Mexican foods, on a salad. Delicious, preserved. And now that I have the supplies, I bought, I think it's 5 weights that came in the box. The box also came with a little pamphlet with different recipes in it. Like I said, I'll link all that below for you. And then my, whatever these are called, like I said, I need to look it up. These were a pack of 4. And like I said, this was a little bit of an investment. You can find online some of these things all in a pack together. I do think that my weights came with these cute little orange tongs, a bottle brush, and seemed like there was something else in there. Maybe that was it. Oh yeah, the recipe book. So you do kind of get quite a lot of resources when you buy these things. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you will look into fermenting. Like I said, you could buy the book. You can go online, to be honest with you. You don't have to buy the book. You can go on Pinterest, Google, here on YouTube, and you can find so many recipes for fermenting different foods, and there's a lot of resources out there. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, and that you learned something, and that you will try something new to preserve food in your kitchen. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great day.